Welcome, 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 everybody. This is Monday's Mindful Merchants. We have two special guests. I got my co-host down below today, and we're ready to roll. We're just going to make this a fun day. Thank you for coming in. Let's just say hi real quick to everybody. You want to do that, Luis? Can you see or?
No, I can't see the chat since I'm on my phone. Since, like I said, I'm out of power at my house right now.
Oh, you have you got a good phone. I thought you were back on your computer. Oh, you're not.
No, I'm on my phone right now. Yeah.
FYI, what that was all about was Luis is having some technical difficulties in California. They're having like 2,000-mile-an-hour winds, and he's got trampolines in his front yard, and and plush toys, and so he doesn't have to go out sourcing for a couple weeks. He's gonna have all this free stuff in his front yard.
Definitely, yeah.
All right, so we got the first one here was Aaron Kluge. Am I saying your first name right? I hope so. Kluge. And we got Simon, the Houston reseller. And who's this wonderful lady here? Her name is Lady Luck Junk. She's in the house. And Eric, OBX picker. If you guys don't know these two here, I'm going to point this way here.
This way, yep.
They came in today. They stopped everything they were doing. They're extremely busy because we know Mondays can be a little tight and frenzy for us here sellers. And we'll start the show there. Let's talk about it because, being mindful is about just being aware and trying to keep things on top. And so we appreciate you guys being here today. We're just we got some fun stuff going on. Let me see if it saved it. I had some banners. Oh, good, it did. So today's motto here, if you see this at the bottom, is peace and productivity. So Monday's Mindful Merchants is about two things we kind of like to intertwine, and it's a very general term, and that is we call it Mindful Monday Merchants because we're trying to be on the spectrum of just being, aware, conscious, and we're merchants. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about mental productivity in terms of techniques and methods that we do as resellers to try to keep things up and, keep it focused and keep maintaining our focus and elevating. But
Hi, everyone. I'm Danica, and Louie invited me because I'm the opposite of what he just said. So
she's very mindful. She's very thoughtful. She thinks she's very polite. You never see her saying anything rude in chats and stuff. So let's start with that right here next to me with this beautiful hat, this young lady. Would you please introduce yourself?
I'm Danica with Lady Luck Junk, Fort Worth, Texas, reseller online. I have a store that I'll open again someday. Hi, y'all.
A brick and mortar you're talking about. So she's got a brick and mortar store. So what platforms do you sell on? Just for those who are not aware.
eBay, Poshmark, Macari, Grailed, Banana.
Oh, you do Grailed. We got to talk. Okay, and we got below her, we got Mr. Eric. He is better known as the sophisticated OBX picker. Let him in. He's a dapper dude, and he's a co-host of a wonderful show with the Dapper Tiger, who was on here a couple episodes back, and we had a wonderful talk. Got a little serious, but it was wonderful. It was something that we can pour out and share with our community, and that's really why we're here. So, Eric, please just give us in a nutshell.
Hey guys, so I've been a reseller now since about over a year now, a little over a year, and started my YouTube channel probably about the same time, maybe a little after. Didn't really start getting involved in that until February, but I resell mostly eBay. I have branched out a little bit, got a little bit of Amazon, and I've signed up for Grailed. I haven't put anything on there, but Cernock has been after me because I've got a truckload of hats, and I'm dropping those vintage starter jackets on there. It's one of the things that so that's kind of what I got to go on. Friday nights we do that show, the Reseller Roundtable. Actually, Louie and Danica have both been on there, but this Friday, Louis will be on there with us as well. So we're looking forward to that. What? Yeah.
You're going to invite this fellow down below me? You guys better watch. He's going to tear it up.
Yeah, I don't know. Rapid fire panel this weekend, so that'll be a good time. Looking forward to that. Definitely. But yep.
How long has that been going on, Eric? You've been with the rapid refire. It's been at least a couple months now, right?
This is actually our third month of rapid fire.
Awesome.
So we've actually started doing that the last Friday of every month is when we're doing that. The rest of the weeks we've kind of devoted to, we try to reach out to people outside our community for the most part, or people like this past time I had Smoking Flips on, and I got to spend time with Brandon and Amber while we were down at the 411. So I wanted to give them an opportunity to kind of highlight them.
So for those of you who don't know, the gentleman he just mentioned is Colton and Courtney, better known as Redneck Resale. That he's a relative. I think he's the brother of Colton. Yeah. And you, like you said, you met him at an elongated, very like multi-state, kind of like a flea market that you go down roads and roads and just pick.
Yeah, it's the 411 yard sale, so it's there's yard sales everywhere.
Okay. Speaking of which, that what he's talking about, Danica, did you know that Round Top's already started here in Texas? I know. Maybe we can do it last minute. If I find out any information, we'll have to. Well, maybe we'll meet in the middle. But and they just
I want to say if we go, we have to stay at Rancho Pelo.
What's that? Well, we'll talk. Oh gosh, so Danica and I are from the same. And in case you didn't know, Luis and OBX are on the opposite end of the state. So we are covering all bases here. We're Central and East Coast and West Coast. Let me just start here. I do have a couple questions. Both of you have been in the community long enough that most resellers do know you, and we're going to say hi to the panel. I mean the live here in a second, but we'll entertain a question for you, and it's a simple and gentle question. But you guys have been in here, but you both have reached a really unique peak here in the last, I want to say, in the last month or two, and we wanted to ask you how that was. And either one of you can go, and you could just talk about it at length or in a nutshell, but you both have reached 1K and we wanted to congratulate you. And that's not an easy task to do, no matter how you obtained it. You're here in the community. That shows that you have love and support and people do care about you and your channels mean something. I think, And would you guys like to talk about it? What this journey has been for you? And has it been arduous? Has it been challenging? Has it been like, wow, it's everything you expected it to be in a bag of chips?
It's all of those things. Like everything that you just said, it's all of them kind of rolled up. When you start YouTube, like myself, I started doing YouTube honestly because I watched other resellers, and some of those guys I said, hey, I can do that. I can share what they did because I was learning a lot from the people on YouTube. There's a few reasons why you watch YouTube, but honestly, the number one reason most people watch YouTube is to learn something. I know that's what I do. It's like, hey, I need to fix something. I'm going to look at YouTube. Hey, I need to know how to do this. I'm going to look at YouTube. So when I started reselling and then went into the reselling community, that was one of the things that I looked at. I said, man, I can learn about sales. I can learn how to process things. There's things for me, then I got the mindset of, man, I want to be a part of that. And I started out kind of slow. Like I said, I think I put out my first video October 25th. Okay. And then I didn't really do nothing. I was like, for one, I looked at that thing. I said, that's terrible. That's
just it. For each and every one of us, everybody starts at during, and I've had beg me on like, Louie, just put up a video. I'm like, oh God, this is going to be just pure and utter trash. And it still is, Yeah.
I left mine up there. It's still on my channel. You can go back and watch it if you want.
I'm about to take mine down. It's
I left it up there for myself, to be honest, so that I can go back and look and see improvement along the way, because really that's kind of what YouTube is. It's weird. Like YouTube and reselling kind of go hand in hand, in the sense of it's a lot of the same attributes that make YouTube successful makes eBay successful. Consistency, right? If you're inconsistent, the times I've watched my channel growth kind of dip or dive is because I'm not being consistent and dropping videos. Like really, that's one of the things. The times that I see my eBay store take a slump is when I'm not consistent in listing items. The same kind of thing happens. But really, for me, it was kind of a way to document my journey and to look at, to provide information to people that I care about. I look within our community. There's a lot of people that, man, they've helped me along the way. People that have supported me from the beginning. Like, I've got like Nana Tink and some of these guys that she was in my very first thing. And like she was talking the other day and on y'all's thing, Like I popped on live, and the first person to pop in there is Nana Tink, and like she's supporting me. I'm like, why would anybody even come along to watch me? Like.
Well, that's just it. It's those people that have been here all along, and they're they're there because they really show interest and they're expressing interest. They want to see why you're interested, and so it's this bowl of fruit of just of uniqueness because everybody has something different to bring here, and everybody has a different flavor. Everybody has a different
We're all a bunch of fruits, that's for sure.
Definitely, yeah. And it's like, but that's why I love Danica. So we're gonna go to Danica. We're gonna put Eric on mute because he'll go on all day. I love him to death. But before we do, Danica, let me just say hi to a bunch of people because we have not said that.
For sure.
So we got Buying Space. It says hello, Danica. Louie.
Hi, Myra.
Louis.
Hey, Buying Space.
All right, and we got our buddy here. He is a wonderful guy. You guys, he's new. He just reached 100, and he goes, "What's this? Someone get OBX picker a wrench?" No, he doesn't get one because he'll cause trouble. We know what he's up to. No blue wrench for.
Look out for you, greeting everybody in here. Trying to look out.
Oh, let me do this real quick. I what's funny is I keep forgetting when I go back. Where are you, OBX? Let me get you there. I got you.
The chat.
Here we go. And you are now a moderator. Anybody who needs to be moderated, Flip and Eric, as long as you behave, I'm going to give you a moderator because you're a bad boy of YouTube here. Back here, we got, Miss Regina has been, I've been wanting to say hi. Miss Regina, if you're still there. Hello, Regina. We know you're at work. We know you're sneaking a peek, and that's not very mindful because we don't want you to get in trouble and lose your job. So be careful. No, thank you for dropping in, you guys. So Simon, I was telling you guys, he's a Houston reseller. He has got a drive. He's like us when we first started. He loves this community. He's learning to love it, and he was very he was talking to Luis and I. He was like, "Thank you guys very much. Thank you for just talking to me and inviting, letting us share and stuff like that." And I think it's so imperative that we do little collaborations like this. I know it's a little bit of a stump in your day. But it's another way we want to say we love you guys, and and I know how much you guys care very much for this community. I see your activity. I see your, I see that you're more happy when you're with your friends. And it's like we're in a day and an age where it's very difficult in society right now. And I don't need to go into detail. I mean, for everybody, it's a little different. Some people say it's politics. Some people say there's a lot of tension in society. Sometimes it's just the medical stuff that we got going on. And just daily life. So Regina says, Lady Luck Junk, she's giving you hearts, and that's great. Look who's here. Johnny, thank you for coming in. Honey G. He says, hey, panel and everybody. That's wonderful. Uh-oh. Who else came in? Flipping Eric, thank you for being here, you guys. And one of my favorites, you guys. If you don't know him, subscribe to him. This is Leroy. This is one of the most tender hearts of YouTube. He's straightfully honest, brutally honest. And that's what I think I love about this is, speaking about that, me, and I'm sorry I put you on the spot, Leroy. It's because we love guys like you and the gals that are here too. So Eric said something a little while ago. I think that really hit a point in why Luis and I wanted to do this show was putting yourself out there. And he says, it's raw. It's who I am. And that's why you like looking back at your first video. We talk about this, Luis, and we talk about being brutally honest. And that's like, if you're in the 12 steps, there is a step there. It's like, just be honest. Just don't, if that's who you are, that's when you're going to come clean. And that's when you're going to be able to kind of move forward in life and grow. Just be your real self. It's about being authentic and stuff. Speaking of which, below me is Lady Luck Junk. And if you guys haven't subscribed to her yet, you don't know what you're missing out on. So tell us a little bit about your starting of this journey and how 1000's kind of hit you. I mean, because I'm sure you have a different take on it, don't you?
Yeah, I have a different take on it. I'm gonna just back up. I started reselling and left my job, and all I did was consume YouTube. YouTube. And my family was even kind of like, why are you watching so much YouTube? But I learned so much. Then the pandemic came, and I wasn't wanting to learn. I was wanting to connect, Okay.
So
I jumped on somebody's channel. Somebody was having a live with an invitation to come on. And it felt good. It felt good to be able to like have a conversation with someone that knows what I'm doing every day. You know, I've got friends and family, but they don't understand. They haven't watched 5 million hours of YouTube on reselling. You know? Where I feel like we all have, you know, to some level here and there, where some people are just starting out. But there's some people that have been doing this for way longer than me, and they don't have any content, but they're here. You know, it's just neat that we've been able to connect this way.
And then everybody's journey is so different because there's so many different people here, and some go away and come back too.
Yeah. As far as getting to 1,000 subscribers,
yeah.
I don't know how that happened. I've tried to explain it a couple of times to people that I think my channel was botted. I had one video. If you'll go back, it's got, I think it's like Goodwill Outlet Haul or something, but I have a tiger and I'm like, that one video.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah.
My husband was like, I went back to watch your video because I couldn't catch it when you premiered it. But it's got 500 views. And I was like, what? Because normally it was like average of 80.
Your hubby said this?
Yeah. So we sat down and we watched it grow like 600, 700. What is going on? We woke up the next morning and I don't remember, like crazy 5,000 views. Wow. And also at the same time, my subs were going up.
Okay.
So I was all excited. One of my friends on YouTube was like, oh my gosh, the algorithm hit. You hit the algorithm. Woo. And I'm like, still in kind of disbelief, like, no way. No, like, I've been doing this 3 months and I'm not teaching. I'm just like, hey, this is what I'm doing.
Well, don't sell yourself short, Danica.
Yep.
And I mean this to like anybody just starting.
I want to be able to look back in 10 years and be like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
You know, I wish I would have started.
Like, you know, everybody's. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, I was just saying, I wish I would have started filming sooner, you know, so I could, because the film that I do have, like in my garage, where I'm just like, this is so hard. What am I doing? Like talking to my camera and not.
Well, I mean, you got to start somewhere. And when you start, you used to see me, I look like a big dork. You know, I'm standing in my carport, but I'm giving a confession. You know, it's like, look at this hoarding mess, you know, and I got in trouble with my landlord because I had so much junk out there and I had to reorder, you know. But what I was trying to say is don't sell yourself short because you do. I watch you and I watch you in lives, but I also watch, you know, your videos too. You do put a lot of work into it. And I did a project with you once where we did a little acting skit on another channel. And, you know, we were acting like dorks and fools, but we were having so much fun. And I'm like, I don't know Danica that much, although I've known you like online for like 4 or 5 months. And I was like, she puts her heart and soul. When she does something, she does it all the way, you know? So, you know, maybe that speaks volumes of like, you know, why the growth potential is. And I'm maybe that's the big brother in me saying, you know, but it's like.
The way I look at it is I started before that day, I had 300 subs.
Yeah.
I'm still about there if that day hadn't happened.
Yeah.
So I'm not celebrating yet, not because I'm not grateful, but because I haven't put in the hours. I haven't put in the work. I haven't, you know, Eric worked hard for those 1,000 subs.
Yep.
And
he had to pay a lot of people too.
I feel embarrassed. Like, it makes me want to start a new channel. I'm embarrassed because you always hear, you know.
But that's where everybody's like journey and is going to be a little different. Now, I want to be careful when I use the word struggles because it sounds like this is a little bit of a challenge for you because you're being conscious minded about it. Like I don't hear people I know people like, woohoo, I got the 1,000, you know, and they're flipping you off and going, yeah, you know, and then it becomes very much where like they're narcissistic and self about it. You're, you know, that's where I appreciate your kind-heartedness of at least being able to, and see, you're looking down now, but it's like, this shows me that your humility is where like, you know, is whether it's deserving or not. And so being mindful, like in this day and age, especially on a platform that is called YouTube, that is all about me, and I'm here to advertise and I'm selling myself to some extent, but at the same time, it's like we're here to entertain and we're here to help people. And so I think it's a joy to see this, you know, and I think it's a good thing. Even if you are struggling, you get to learn more about yourself. I think that's the one thing I've learned and YouTube. And I'd love to hear Eric's take on it eventually. And you too, Luis, is like when you start this, you realize I didn't know I was going to take in all this stuff. You're absorbing like a sponge, and sometimes it's overbearing, and the water's coming out of the sponge, and you're learning, and you want to hold it all. But it's like there's so much here that you go, I didn't even know I was going to learn this, you know. Or sometimes you go, oops, you know, and the foot's in the mouth, and like I get to learn this, you know.
For sure.
So,
yeah, I mean, do you guys do anything? Like, have you noticed since you started to where you're at now? I know my own self, like sometimes I get lazy about it, just to be honest, like straight up honest. Like sometimes I get to a point where like with me, now I'm at a place to where, you know, I know Tuesday and Friday, pretty much Tuesday, I'm going to do that listing live. Friday, I'm going to do the rest, trying to squeeze in a couple extra videos during the week. I went through a 30-day deal where I'm like, man, you know, 30 days, I put out a video every single day. And you talk about,
so you did what Chris, the old school picker, did.
Yeah, I did that. I did that before Chris. Like I did that months ago.
You may have, you know what? You may have inadvertently influenced him. Like, hey, he can do that. I can do it. You know.
But it fries you. I'll just tell you straight up. It fries you. Like if you try to do that every single day. Like,
so consistency is hard work, but it's also it's something to be.
The same thing. Like I've got guys. I mean, I talk to some people that are far bigger than me as far as YouTube is concerned. And that's what they'll tell you every day, all day. It's like, man, with YouTube, if you want to get there, as far as like, I mean, like for me, even now being monetized, like you see the other side of monetization, and it's not. When you first got on YouTube and you thought, hey, I'm gonna drop a video and I'm gonna start getting paid or whatever your thought process was. Maybe you watched somebody because a lot of these other guys that resellers or even other people that put out that content and say, hey, if you do this on YouTube, then you like I made this much off this video or whatever. Well, that's a long time coming, and a lot of those guys that are doing that are, you know, they've put in a lot of work. For one, for two, like they know what they're doing when it comes to doing this, because really YouTube is a whole nother thing. I mean, you have to learn how to edit, you have to learn how to camera angle, shooting things. Like it's a lot more than just
don't forget just the logistics of like, because everybody's life's different. Some of us have kids that are younger,
figuring it out,
older. Like I'll say this, and I know Luis is tired of hearing me say this, but like I praise him, I thank him. He's got 2 hours back, so it's harder for him. Like if he hasn't had his packages out by now, he's gonna be struggling, because you know, like he said, he came in today in the show and he was lucky to be here because there's like a lot of weather thing going on. He's got two children, you know, and he's a dad. He's like the principal, the teacher, and he's doing the reselling full time. You know, so logistics plays a big part, and you're trying to do YouTube. So, and like
and there's the balance.
He's here now.
The balance all the way around. The balance with your family, the balance with reselling, and the balance with YouTube and whatever else you got going on in your life. But I mean, to produce YouTube and reselling, honestly, it takes you twice as long to do your reselling if you're filming reselling. Like for me, I can pack and ship and be done with it way faster than if I got to film, pack, ship, you know, like filming, doing all that interaction. Even like remembering things. Like me and Jimmy have had this conversation. I know he's in the chat. But we were talking about that the other day too. He's like, man, I forgot. I don't put my camera on to go to yard sales anymore. I like doing that myself, but a lot of times I forget, or the battery's not charged or something. It's not locked in. But like with reselling, you know, the other side of that is if you're spending a lot of time on YouTube, there's a payoff somewhere down the road. Like Danica experienced, at some point the bot may hit you, and you may get one video pushed out to a bunch of people, and it may explode. But you know, it's a lot of like we always talk about with reselling, right? Home runs come very few and far between. There's a lot of just being consistent and swinging the bat, right? And sometimes you strike out, and sometimes you hit something. Sometimes
it's like a muscle memory too. It's like you know, we talk about the betterment of health. Like, how do we take care of like everything you guys have mentioned so far and what we've talked about in the past? And like if you're taking care of your body, you know, and your mind and spirit, you know, one of those is going to get neglected along the line, you know, and we got to watch ourselves. We got to constantly be aware, talking about being mindful. You want to make sure, did I did I eat today? Like I joke with you when we're in live sometimes, Eric, and like we'll be doing. I go, Eric, did you eat? Not yet. And he's like, doing stuff, and it's like, well, I got snacks over here. I'm like,
so her grandmother. Have you ate? Have you ate? That's what my grandma and mom. That's what they asked on top.
Well, part of it is my, that's my Italian mom speaking. My mom's actually 100% Italian, so it's like for me, it's natural to go. Did you mangia? Like to eat. What's the matter with you? But yeah, I don't know. Did you have any questions, Luis? That because I know you've been kind of busy at the moment, and so Are you okay in your connections?
Yeah, I'm good. Like I said, I want to touch on what Danica was talking about earlier about her video, how it just, went viral, I guess you could say. It does happen. Sometimes you just put out the content and people just get attracted to your video as well because you're being yourself. You look at her video, she's being what you see is what you get. Yeah. There's no role.
Like I try to clean up a little bit for you guys.
Yeah, no, yeah. But I mean, saying, you can look at your videos.
I mean, you think about like we're like Indiana Jones. Like sometimes he got down and dirty, and that ain't always pretty. So I can't know everything.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I understand that, but I'm saying like, coming back to how you're saying how your husband told you have so many views on your video and stuff. Yeah, because your video was good and it appealed to a lot of people because you're being you. And you were showing what you were doing that day. And like Lou was saying, when you're, being the real you, people are going to get attracted to that and say, oh, you know what? I want to see what her next video is going to be about. Or like Eric, when Eric does his lives, and everybody knows that Eric's the hardest working man right now on YouTube listing.
My wife does that.
He's a hard worker.
Be mindful. She might be watching right now, Eric.
Let me tell you what that feels like whenever your video gets whatever happens. You're pumping along. You're putting yourself out there. You're finally okay with it. Like, all right, I can do this. You're putting in. I'm gonna edit the video. I'm gonna do this, and everything's rocking along. And all of a sudden, you're like, what I'm doing isn't really.
Can you speak about that? Like, that's a fair question. That's a fair response for me because what we were talking about too is like, like Eric was talking about. I forgot because I ran off the topic. Like Eric was talking about his first video. You gotta look back at it and have fun and this and that. Now, here's another thing we talk about is non-critical observation, which just means you got to observe what we're doing constantly, whether it's your first video or. In your case, which is a great example, like boom, like okay, I just was here, but all of a sudden I'm up here. What's going on? You could talk about it from a technical perspective. I would love to hear from like how emotionally and like psychologically, how did that affect you? Because I'd be tripping too. I probably really would. I would need to take some time back, and take a step back, which is a mindful practice. It's just like saying, oh, okay, guys, let me just take a look.
The worst thing you can do if it actually happens, you have to continue to put out content, And,
thank you.
Yeah.
So getting over that,
okay.
I guess the holdback for me is like, well, I'm really not putting out helpful information. I'm not educating anyone because I don't want to be redundant. I don't want to tell you what Rally Roots told me 2 years ago. I don't want to tell you what the Bonafide Hustler taught me. All these people, that taught me.
But if you do it, you can, you gotta, like you said, you gotta put a lot of thought into it. How can Danica teach you this? But from Danica's perspective, because there may be somebody coming up and going, I kind of identify with you. I really like you because you wear those hats, and you're the only one I'm going to watch that wears those hats. So what do you have to teach me? I'm just. Like a better example.
And the other side of that, Danica, is like, there's guys that I enjoy watching that it is way more vlog style, but I still learn stuff from them. I mean, I'm entertained. Like I was saying earlier, like I watch YouTube a lot. How I first started watching it was, hey, how do I fix this? How do I do that? Then when I got involved through the YouTube community, like there's some things I put on in the background just to listen to what sold. Okay, what sold? Do. Like people that I know that's their content. They're just going to grind out what sold. And like, I'll sit there and listen. And then all of a sudden I'll hear something that I ain't real sure about. And I'll go over there and, let me back that up. What was they talking about here? But then there's other people I watch just for sheer, like reselling content. Yes, but entertainment. Like, because I know that those people, like them just going through their daily life, I'm probably going to learn something probably about them. I might pick up a little reselling knowledge. So I don't think that's.
But also, as resellers, that part of that step back to is like, okay, you know, how much information can I absorb? And on that note, let me just take a quick time out because I think we're really getting onto something that's really wonderful. Let's hold our thought and just keep that thought there for a minute, because I saw a lot of new people coming in and I just wanted to say hi. We got Fundamental Side Hustling, beautiful, wonderful show on Wednesdays. If you guys want a little bit of resellerness and a lot of good entertainment that like just takes your mind off of the, you know, the ease of the day or the tensions of the day. Derek is one of the hard-working ones here on YouTube that I've noticed, and I think he's very mindful young man. And I say young man because he's barely in his middle ages, and he's working. He's got a family. He works hard, and you guys don't see a lot of the stuff that I see. That I can tell you, like he is awesome. So if you guys get a chance, real quick, Johnny came in, and I wanted to say something. Johnny has a bingo show after this, so coming about, you know, our hour's time, get ready, and it could be, I don't even know, in about 30, 35 minutes or so, he's going to have the bingo hour. If you guys, he says he's getting ready to cook dinner, so I guess we'll have dinner ready for us when we're done here. Wouldn't that be nice? So Matt Romero, if you guys don't know Matt, he's a t-shirt aficionado. He really is about vintage, and this guy he'll be humble and say, I'm still learning, I don't know, but if you guys want to know about vintage stuff, go to him. He's really smart on this. Once again, Leroy, thank you. Leroy. And there was somebody else here. I saw it. I can't find it, but Small Town Picker. She's also from Texas. Yep. Her name is Gail. She's a wonderful content maker. You guys, anybody I missed, please forgive me.
I'll tell you somebody that I saw pop in the chat that I know is new. Allison Vintage Land. I love the name.
I love the name too.
That's what I said. Alice in Wonderland was one of my favorite kids movies. So, like,
welcome. If that is your name, Ellis, thank you for coming. We hope we have something to contribute. Let me go ahead while you're gonna let's pick this back up. So we were kind of talking about just I can never say that word, vivacity. What just energy.
Smaller words.
It's like I get caught up in my own big words too. It's like, wait a minute, am I pronouncing that right? Let me say it in German. Waschenwischen, Krautzenwischen. So seriously though, but you know, this clip is close to heart. We're all dealing with this, and we're going to deal with it at different stages. Now, that being said, Luis and I have talked about this, and we were wondering, like, when does this incredible flow of energy of like dealing with logistics, dealing with resellerness, you know, dealing with our family life, trying to be a reseller and dealing with this YouTube world, when can we keep a little more mindful, you know, and maybe at least just either by friends telling us or just maybe we helping somebody else just by being here or talking to them, reaching out to them, whether it's Instagram or here, where can we find that we need to be a little more alert and aware of like what they call burnout? Mm-hmm. It's like I've seen a couple cases kind of come in close to me, and I can speak for myself. Like, I had to put the brakes one day. It was like, no more YouTube for 48 hours. You know, I just need to clear my mind. I need to go hug a tree or just, you know, go call a family member, you know, and back up. Can you guys speak to that? Like, have you had little moments of like awareness where you're like, okay, no.
For sure. And it took a long time for it to happen, like 2 years, just truck, nothing could stop me. And then all of a sudden it's just like, oh, whoa, where am I? I'm in Alice in Vintage Land.
Yeah. Speaking of which. I mean, it's like hitting a brick wall. Like if you don't, you know, and it doesn't have to be like over a discourse of a long time. It could be like in one day you like did so much and you're like, why am I feeling angry? Why am I hungry?
Mm-hmm.
You know, why am I on this phone constantly? You know, and it's like,
there's your
you know,
halt.
and it's like, go ahead.
Yep.
I was just saying, there's your halt.
Yeah.
Yep.
That you and Emily at Conway talk about. Halt.
Tell them what it means. Do you remember the words?
Hungry, angry, lonely. And tired.
Lonely.
And
yep.
tired.
I'm tired. Yep.
Do you know about that, Eric? We talk about that sometimes. Like,
I watched you and Emily the other day when you guys.
Well, not just her, but it's something that's across the board and like in psychology, but also just.
I know. Like, you know, I talk to Sam quite a bit, and obviously you guys know, you know, he's got a lot going on, and you know, there's times I've had a lot going on, But for me, I think there's some things to keep in mind. What's your goal? Like what's your plan? Like you got a plan as the end goal. Like why am I doing what I'm doing? I always
what is your intention for it?
Why am I doing this? Like why why this? Like why for me reselling, there's a few things. YouTube, the whole thing. Like for me, reselling is one of those things. I'm in the bottom baseline. You got to pay the bills, right? Like you can't just sit at home, sit on your couch. Like if you're a reseller and this is your income, you got to do something with that. But is there an end game in mind? And for me, I want to be debt free. That's really what I'm grinding at right now. Like, I don't want to be. Because I'm still pretty young. Like I'm 46, that's not young to compare to a lot of people in this chat, but 46 for me is, I'm looking at that saying, man, where am I going to be in 5 years? Like, am I going to be, I'm not going to be, working for somebody else and having to deal with that. I don't ever want to go back to that. But, I think of that. So when I get times of burnout, when I get times where I'm tired, I get times, like everybody else. Yeah, you may need to take a break. You may need to take a day and say, okay, I'm just gonna let it, chill for the day. I got to take a day off. You might need to take a getaway. Like, we've done a couple of these where we've done reseller meetups, and I'll be honest with you, I might break even on the stuff I sold at those pickups, but for me, that was relaxing, man. To get out and get away and hang out with other people and. Then we went up to the mountains. I was able to go out every morning, spend a little time, a little prayer time privately by myself up on the mountain. I said, man, that was a great, getaway. So, I think it's important that you have that goal, but then the other side of it, you got to recognize you cannot work like all day, every day. Like you can't do it for so long.
That's why I was mentioning, that, and I'm glad that Danica mentioned the halt, because the halt is actually, you can look at it from different angles. Let me tell you, I play with it like where I've seen halt come into it the whole day. Like I realized I was hungry because I was working from like 4 a.m. that morning, last Christmas, trying to get orders out, realizing that I was hungry and I was getting very angry. I was angry at myself, but I was angry at some buyers, but I was angry at myself because I wasn't doing things right, or but then I realized I was getting stressful. So there's the T in the halt, was I was getting tired. And one thing I'll confess, and Luis and I have talked about it in one sense or another, and it's all why we come here and we connect with certain people. We connect more than others, and that's understandable. Like you got some friends, but like if you're lonely, I think sometimes the best time is just having that connection of that person that sometimes can mirror that reflection back to you. It's like, hey, did you get rest? Did you do this? And the hungry I'm talking about is not necessarily always about food. We got a hunger for emotional cravings. We have, a psychology here of like, you're getting so mentally stressed out that you need a friend to go, hey, come here, chill out. You just need to go take a day off. No, like, be it your husband or wife or just a good friend, saying, hey, how long have you been doing this? Well, all week why don't you just take a step back, And because like you said, your returns, Eric, like if you're going to an event like that, you're going to source because that's what we do, second nature, but the source could just end up being a partial funding of what you're doing.
For me is relaxing, to be honest.
But that's what I mean. Yeah.
I do not get stressed when I'm sourcing at all. Like, even if someone's rude or something at a yard sale, like I'm like, dude, I'll just like move on to the next one. Like it don't.
Man, if I were with Rev Resale or Chris OBX Picker or Colton, I'd be stressed out that they're getting all the good stuff first. But first of all, just kidding.
It's a race.
Well, since we mentioned halt, and thank you for doing that, Danica. We can talk about it like, dance around it, but I think I want to do this because somebody's going to stumble on this video one day, and hopefully it's a new reseller. And one of the intentions and like you said, you got to question, why are you doing this? Eric was saying, why are we doing everything we do? I think it's a good potential to learn and grow. Yeah. It's what we're doing. This is what we can do to help somebody else. And so one of the better things I think in life is when we learn that the real reason we're here on YouTube, is to make those connections. Part of that halt is the L for loneliness. But really, what you're doing is you're being of service. If you can be of service to somebody else, you're feeding yourself. Like, I did something. It's potentially got an adverse effect that's going to be there for somebody else. I think is important, But let's talk about like loneliness in terms of like, I think it's one of the reasons I probably was drawn to this community was, oh yeah, there's a lot of other resellers out there. And first I was giddy about it and like, wow, look at this. Look. And it's like, this is a form of entertainment. And then I realized, then I go bump up against, guys like Eric. And it's like, this guy is serious as, I want to say a superlative. It's like, as heck, and it's inspiring, and it's also a way to kind of go, yeah, when can I up my level on that, and so like just part of that loneliness can also just bring a bond of like an awareness to somebody else, I'm meeting a lot of new resellers, and it's some of it is because I do like to reach out. Like I'll go, and most time I find them on Instagram. I'm like, hey, what's going on with you? Well, I'm doing this and this, and you find that same. You guys remember this when you first started? You wanted to tell everybody the whole long story of how you found one little Hot Wheel, and you wanted to go in every detail. Which I said, hey, save it for your YouTube. I don't want to hear it, so that way I can fast forward through it. Joking. But what do you guys have to say? I mean, do you have anything you guys can contribute to like a newbie that's coming into this and like realizes at one point like, yeah, there's a loneliness aspect to this. And what would you say to them? Like if they're both a YouTuber and a reseller and they're trying to get their hustle going, but like, and maintain their focus.
Well, I can back up in time to where I met some YouTubers at eBay Open, and then I met some eBays at a storage auction, or some YouTubers at a storage auction. And they both made the comment to me, you're watching too much YouTube. And I was like, oh, no, I listen to it while I'm working. I get my work done. And I guess I didn't understand what that meant until I started being a part of it. And then it was like, I'm watching too much YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
So beware of that. Definitely be involved, and you'll have open arms in this community if you're new. But don't let it be everything. Just, something that I had to learn the hard way.
Yeah, I would definitely build on what Danica's saying too, because you can fall in that trap like of, okay, so being supportive is great, and that's honestly you work by yourself like most of us do. We work, it's just us. We're sitting in a room like most of us are right now, and we're grinding it out. We're doing that. So that's one side of it. I like the aspect. I started doing that Tuesday listing challenge just for myself. It's a challenge for me. If it helps other people, that's awesome too. But honestly, selfishly, it is an accountability for me. It is a way to not work by myself. Like I'm working, other people are working. And I do know though, because I've got tons of messages where like, man, you inspire me to keep listing. I was like, dude, it inspires me because I don't want to do that. But then the other side of that is because I've developed such a community in YouTube, there's so many people that I watch, but I drowned in that for a little while myself because I'm like, I felt that I've got to be on everybody's channel, that I've got to pop in. Oh man, this person supported me. I'm going to go in and support them. But if I'm not careful, what happens is productivity and what makes money for me goes down. And even though I'm being supportive. So here's the other side I've had to learn on both sides of this. Hey, don't be offended if people can't always be there. Don't be offended by that. Because I mean, it's not that I'll just tell you straight up. It's not that I don't want to support everybody. It's not that but there's not enough hours in the day. There's maybe time, and a lot of times I am watching people lurking in the background. But for me, it has to be that. I have to set that up across the room where I'm listening to it, but I've got my mind on what I'm doing. Like occasionally I'll go and stop and do that. But, to make there for a while, I was trying to be on everybody's live, trying to do all that kind of stuff. And I was like, that's pulling as well. So loneliness sometimes could drive you down that road, but then that feeling of, hey, I've got to be a part of this community who supported me.
And I think some of it's, it may not just necessarily be like a sense of obligation, although we do, because we made friends with people and we don't want to hurt like feelings. But like you said, I think it's a very good point to bring. Luis and I've talked about boundaries, and it's like, you know, like Luis is like, hey, you know, don't feel bad if you don't come to. I'm like, dude, you know, vice versa. If you can't come to this, you know, it's like just reach out, say hey, you know, whatever. But you can't make it. We can't, you know, like this is our one time, but we probably get to connect the most, you know, Luis, because and that's sort of why we did this, because you know we befriended each other, and it was like a nice way of getting to. You guys collaborated, so you understand that. And what I'm trying to say, it's like for the newbies that come out there, just because it's what this show is about, is being mindful of your boundaries. Just be aware and say, hey, I really want to be there, but guess what? I got to be with my daughter today, or I got to go cook, I got to go wash my dirty underwear, you know, whatever it is that you got going on in your life. There are priorities. Now, you know, I've also said this, but
new underwear. I just throw out all the.
I resell my dirty underwear. No.
Oh no.
That's a reseller joke. There was a reseller. Boom. Bad taste. Bad Louie. But yeah, you know, so we're just trying to keep it light here. But I think these are important topics. So I would just first and foremost, I'm going to stop for a second. I just want to thank you guys for being here. I know this is like kind of like, what are these two new cats? But this is I think our 5th or 6th show. I don't know. And we're really grateful that, you know, you guys have not only like been very friendly to us, been very, you know, mindful in your manners, that I see you guys when you go out to lives, when you're on your own chats, when you're for somebody else, I'm intensely aware, and I find a sensitivity in folks that like, you know, it makes it. We hear it sounds cliche, and those in the live that are hearing me say what I'm about to say is that it seems like we have this sense of community, but because, you know, you may not be able to connect with everybody all the time, but they're going to be nice. They're going to say hello, and most people are respectful. If you want to reach out to them for help, I think that's what we're here for. But I got this awareness of like, you know, when I first met Luis, I'm like, all I did was like I asked him a couple questions, and he was just really there, and he was like, he gave you his full 100% attention, like he's doing right now. It's like he's not saying much, but he's listening, and he could, if you ask him on the spot, he's going to say something, you know. And it's like, how do you find? Go ahead.
And that being said, you know, the other side of that is, I can tell you, for me, I mean, I don't know how everybody else feels about this, but I mean, I'm sure I kind of know you guys. Like, I've hung around with y'all. Danica's been on my show before. Like, she's, you know, popped in my chat stuff before. Dropped the wrestling mask on her birthday in my channel, which I still get a kick out of. I watch that every now and then myself, but you know, just to get a laugh. But I appreciate everybody. And so for me, even though I can't necessarily always be in everybody's chat and everybody's, like I said, because you said in the beginning about 1,000 subscribers. So think about that. Like for me, it's like, man, when you're 100 subscribers and your friend group is kind of smaller, but now like I have so many people that I recognize, that I know their name, that kind of stuff. But my Instagram, like if someone drops me a comment, hey, what about this? I'm going to respond. You know, I'm going to hit you back and be like, okay, it may not be the second you send it to me. And honestly, like looking through this chat, I know, you know, Alice is a newer person here, and there's a couple names I don't really recognize, KJ, but you know, there's other people that I've known for months now and seen them in the chat. Dude, if they hit me up and said, hey, I've got this question, or hey, could you help me out with this? I'm going to be the first to say, yeah, you know, what can I do? Like that kind of thing. So I do feel like it's community, even though most of us have never met in life in person. You know, most of us haven't dealt with anybody on that level. But, you know, because of COVID, honestly, a lot of the reselling community, I feel like, has gotten tighter than what it may have been prior to.
Oh, definitely. So you're saying it's taking this effect on us.
Yeah.
To like, because I don't look at things as totally always black and white, because sometimes it's like a pie chart. It's like, oh my gosh, look at this. Probably 33% of this is being shaken up by, let's just say, COVID or whatever, you know. Yeah. Then you got your family issues, and you got this, and like I said, that's why we try to be. Luis and I have, like, you know, talked about like, what are we going to talk about today? This, you know, because talking about being mindful is very broad. You know, we can talk about how to you know, bring up mental strategies, which is just like, you know, how can I market better? How can I do this? How can I work my strategies come in, you know, fourth quarter, and those are very important things for us, you know, and I think that's one of the shoelaces that ties one of the feet that we stand on in terms of this reselling community. The other foot is there is a sense of camaraderie, so, and being that you have like 1,000 followers, well, I guarantee you at least 75% of them understand and respect. Eric's a busy guy, or Danica's a busy lady, but those that reach out to you, you tell them politely in your own loving way, and that they're going to continue to like you or not.
The way I look at it,
yeah,
is if you've ever worked in an office, we're in our cubicles.
Yeah.
And there's always, you watch the TV show The Office, there's personalities. There's people that like to pop in with.
It's an extreme example, but I love it.
Like, I mean, you can't always be in your friend's cubicle, like you can't, you got to do your work. And then when the boss is away, which is it's just this.
So it's about, that accountability, that's one of the mindful things that we need to always constantly be conscious of, on a daily basis. It's like, okay, guys, just because the boss is away doesn't mean the mice get to play, vice versa, whether it's your own self or, it's a continuation of like, where do I want to be, and like Eric said, what are my intentions? So keeping those daily goals, keeping aims, I think are really good, but also you can't be accountable for your YouTube buddy or your reseller buddy, but you can be encouraging, you can be there for them with just kind words. And more often than not, like this guy here, he's always listening to me ramble because Luis, where are you? Did you get cut off?
No, I'm here. I'm listening. Like I said, I'm just listening to what you guys are talking about. You know me. I like to observe, and then when I talk, I do talk,
Yeah. But I mean, did you have any, because we talked about, I don't know if you guys saw my quirkiness of a thumbnail, and I thought Eric's probably going to give me heck for this, but I thought, this is just a time just to kind of bring reseller challenges. That's kind of what we're talking about here. If the live is wondering, what are these four on the panel rambling about? Well, I think it's.
I mean, I think too, like what you were saying earlier about burnout and all this kind of stuff that we're talking about. The other thing is I think you need to take a hard look at excuses, because you want to talk about challenges. Like, for most of us, is it burnout or is it an excuse? Like, I mean, some people have legit burnout. Some people have a point. Sometimes, dude, you just want to, like, honestly, I just got sucked into some show on Netflix, and I'm sitting there like, oh, I need to watch the next episode. And I'm sitting there going, dude, like, what is that doing helping you get ready for what you need to get done?
Yeah.
Like, there's times that I think that if we're not careful, we can use. Because, I mean, ultimately, you're your own boss. Like, I mean, like, I'm the one responsible for the input and the output. Like, that's on me, and I can only control what I can control. And if I'm not controlling that, so I think sometimes, because I do hear, it's so crazy, man. I've got hooked up with some guys. Like, you want to talk about inspiration, guys that are dropping like serious numbers, but dude, they don't play. I mean, like I hear, and I'm in a part of this boat. Like, I'm not, because I know people may get mad or offended or whatever. But how many times have you listed 5 things in a day? It's like, oh man, I put in a hard day. Like, come on, man. Like,
today
we do that, right?
Don't talk about me like this, Eric.
But what I'm saying is, I've done it too. Like, and I look at myself, and I was like, dude, I'm talking to a guy who's listing 80 items a day.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm doing that in 6 hours. And
actually, I heard you the other day. You were talking about somebody, and then you're like, that guy does 150 a day. And your response, Eric, was like, holy wow. And I was like thinking, why is Eric saying that? I've worked with you in a day and it was a long day. I was there.
Like, I put in the most I've done in a day. Like,
that's what I was about to say. Yeah. You did. I seen you do 80.
Yeah. Well, so the day I did 85, I actually listed like 10 items after that. I was trying to get to 100. I never did. But like, I look at that, could I do that every day? Right now?
But see, you're different from other people. And some people, like you said, there's some guys that'll give you crap about it. And it's like, but that's just the way I work. And that's my work, because you knew the next couple of days you needed to be with family. You had a trip, you had to deal with life,
But what I'm saying is, what are you doing to like, okay, so if you got your goal, like for me, I know what my goal is. I know how many items I need to list to get there. I know I've done the math. Like, I've went in and said, okay, I've got to do this. So if I've got a day that I'm like, hey, I checked in at 5 today, and I understand, like, you could be happy with that, but not if your goal is this and you have the items to do so. Like, it'd be different if I didn't have the items to do it. Because dude, I've got the items. I could give 100 a day for the 4 of us for probably a month, and we still be in good shape, right? So for me, I know where I'm at with that kind of stuff. So then if I because here's what we do sometimes, and this is me preaching to me for you guys. So for me, sometimes I'll be like, okay, I listed 5 a day, and I'll hit somebody else who I know that's their goal every day. They're going to do like 5 or 6 a day and feel good about it. So if I hang out with that person and they do 5 or 6, they feel good about it, and I say, yeah, I got my 5 today, then what am I doing? I'm setting myself up for failure down the road because I'm not doing what I know that I want to do and I need to do.
Giving yourself a guilt trip. That's what I meant by, like, I
don't think it's a guilt trip. I think it's a kick in the pants. Like,
no. But I'm saying, but you can still do that as a kick in the pants. But, like, make it not a guilt trip. Make it a non-critical observation, like saying, "All right, buddy, you want to sit here and watch Netflix? Just know that tomorrow."
Well, see,
sales are not going to come in.
I operate a little different than that, Louie, to be honest. Like, I coached sports for a long time. Yeah. Like, there's some coaches that are your buddy. They come and pat you on the back. Oh, man, go get it. You'll be better next time. Like, I never got inspired by them coaches. I'll just be honest. Like, those guys, I'm just like, dude, you don't care if I win or lose. Like, really, that's kind of how I felt about it. For me, sometimes it took somebody to come alongside and get in your mess and be like,
no, tough love is important, but I'm saying is,
I think if you need a stiffer accountability, you need to find somebody that's going to give you a stiffer accountability.
Yep.
True, but like you said, but here's the double-edged sword, Eric, and I'm not debating, I'm not saying you're wrong or anything, but like the double-edged sword is, and there's going to be new resellers that are coming in and listening to this. Yeah. They need to be accountable for themselves. There's nobody, like, I'm a solo kind of guy, so it's like I have to do exactly like you said. I have to, like, play. There's the angel and the devil on both sides. There's the tough coach and the good loving coach. I play tough love too. It's like, you want to sit there and bullshit, and watch Netflix, then you're not going to get the $175 tomorrow. But that being said, if I know I listed 5 items, but each item was $100 each, I'll be happy because that was, 5 items at $100. I mean, depending on everybody's different. Like, if you're listing nickel and dime things, you're going to have to work twice as hard. But it's like, wherever your ratio is, like your threshold, it's like you gotta, like, get in there and, like, super coach it. It's
well, I mean, you think about the people that you see having success, because here's the other side of what I'm saying. What I'm saying is people that get in and complain, because, oh man, I see it all the time. My sales are slow, but then the same people that are saying my sales are slow, then you listen to them talk. How many items you list today? Oh, well, I have a goal of 5, or I have a goal of 8. I have a goal of. I was like, well, bro, you sold 2. Like, what more do you want? Like, you're not going to sell more.
I'm going to go back to it. I want to try a different angle and maybe I want to hear Luis a little bit, and I want to hear Danica too, because she's being our quiet guest. But on the note of like, and I thank you for bringing that up, Eric. Is like, I've watched this community close, and one of the issues I do have is hearing other resellers when they lament, when they complain. It's there's a part of me that says, well, get off your ass and do something about it. Like, I want to say that, but I also, like, with a little tough love. But at the same time, it's like, I've watched a couple videos and I've heard people complain in their videos, like really complain about something. And it was like, sometimes it wasn't even, it's their responsibility because they're accountable, because you're here on YouTube under your name, but you're blaming somebody else, whether it's for an edit or that lady didn't help me get this and that deal didn't go through. No, I mean, it's tough, tough stuff, because, when the milk runs dry, sometimes you just got to take a different route. It's like sourcing, or whatever it is. You have to step up to the plate, do your best. It's like, it's never going to always be the same way every time. And it's like, it's one of those things where, like, if you're going to be complaining, no matter what it is, about your sales, about something you did, a process, or especially if you're complaining about somebody else, I don't think you have a business being here as a reseller, to some extent. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that, it's like, that's my tough love. But What about you, Luis? What's your take on it?
No, I mean to pick up where Eric left off, it's true. Whatever work you put in, that's the return you're going to get. If you're putting in, like he said, 5 items a day, and okay, you sold 2 items, there you go. You're good. But if that's your daily goal, then obviously, if this is your full time, then obviously there's something wrong there. Because if you're only listing 5 items in a whole day, it's like if you have a regular 9 to 5, you're working 8 hours. So if you dedicate 8 hours to listing, then of course you're gonna have, list somewhat of a, amount. But if you're just doing 5 a day and you're only selling 1 or 2 items, say every 2 or 3 days, then obviously you're gonna get what you put in.
Yep.
Yeah. It's hard because we could be our own worst critic, but at the same time, like Eric was saying, you don't want that coach that's going to pat you on the back all the time.
Yeah.
It's like pretty soon you're just going to be complacent, and then you're like kind of tomfoolery sitting around, And I see this serious look on Danica. She's got something to contribute here. Here it comes. Oh God, I'm sitting back.
No.
Here it comes.
No, I'm just taking in what y'all are saying, and I wish I would have heard what Eric said like a year ago. So yeah, that's really good advice to newbies. I find that I'm having this shift to where I want to source better, which takes time.
Yeah.
I've got a store full of stuff that's from storage units and whatnots, and I have a whole store full of it.
Yeah.
I'm not like it when I sell something that's like $1,000, So
this is exciting. I want to hear about that.
I think, yes, you have to list and you have to have your goals and you have to meet your goals and have your goals and all that stuff too. But you forget that we've got to go out and find this stuff. It's not an excuse, but that's where I'm at.
No, and I love that you brought up something that I've heard. Here's 2 examples. I heard I'm talking like a couple days ago, a very good friend of mine came to me. This is a personal friend, not on YouTube, and he's a reseller. And I'll meet him up at places, and he goes, and usually he like collects these like little kitschy, goofy things that sometimes you could bring to a flea market. Nobody wants this kind of stuff, and it's like, is it my place to tell him, is it, because there's this kind of wondering about a boundary, talking about boundaries, like, he's my friend. I want to be honest with him and give him some tough love. I don't want to pat him on the back, like Eric was saying. But at the same time, it's like it's not my business to say. But then he'll complain at the end of the day, like we do a flea market together. And I made $10. How much did you make? Made $500. What the hell are you selling? Wow. And I catch him watching me and glaring. And this guy's gonna go meet me at a flea market in 2 weeks. And he goes and he texts me and he goes, Louie. He's like. I'm aiming for higher price items and better quality items. And I was just like, oh God, thank you, Lord, And it's like to see that, that drive, to see that it's a shift in consciousness, when you're consciously thinking like, how long can I strive? Do I want to sit here for 12-hour days selling $5 and $10 items? Guess how many items you got to list? It wasn't until like last year, after 20 years of reselling, don't get me wrong. I find some good stuff and I'm like, and it rides me through a wave, but I want to ride that wave for a long time and be in my Zen moment. I want to be right there and go, I want this wave to be inside of a tunnel. And I want to do it like the Hawaiian guys do, get on that surfboard and I want to ride it for a while. And I want it to be.
Wait, you want to be David Hasselhoff? Is that what you're saying? Is that your goal? Is that your end goal?
David Hasselhoff.
Is to not only buy the best surfboard, but to ride that reseller surfboard for like my threshold went from maybe making like $10 an item to now I'm between 30 and 50. I've never and my aim was like, because I set aims, I'm watching resellers talk seriously and Eric has been like one of the passionate guys that I have to give you praise. Take the blowing of the smoke, Eric, but like when you sit there for 8 hours in a day and you list close, I don't care if it's 50, you're listing more than most. You're hard up. And I granted he has things that he wants to be doing, like with his family, putting up a new barn, whatever it is. Or I got to go source. Then I'm going to be gone at 4/11. Doesn't matter. It's not how you do it. It's that you're doing it.
Well, I think it's important too. Like if you're talking about newer resellers too, like you said, Danica, I mean, Mitch, I wish somebody told me this in the beginning, like, because honestly, in the beginning, if you're not careful, you can take the rainbows and ponies route, right? Where you're watching resellers that are like, oh man, I just sold this $1,000 item that I picked up for $1.99. Like I mean, you don't find that every day. Like it's one of those things, and you think like that, or you might have a mentality of, oh man, I sold this for 25. Well, you paid 22. Like you ain't made no money. So like there's things to look at. Duncan made an important point of, 90% of the people he says complain they have no sales, they haven't hardly listed anything. But then the other thing he said is, I don't source, I have people sourcing for me. So when you talk about leveling up the game, like
different strategies.
That's the thing that honestly over the past few months that I've really took a hard look at. One, I made an investment in, the barn, the shed. Like I had to do that because I was like, I cannot grow any bigger where I'm at right now. That's just where I was. Like, because I did have beginnings of starting to see more inventory coming my way, but I ain't got nowhere to put it. Like, I mean, what can I even do with it?
When you have a ceiling, like when I'm not, and I don't, we're talking, I mean, I know you're talking about architecture, and I don't mean that in the literal sense of like having a ceiling. If you have something that's roofing and you can't go any farther, what do you need to do?
Well, you got to come up with a plan. I mean, and that's what I did. So actually, me and Sam had long conversations about this. And you know what I did? I began to find people who've leveled up, and I began to talk to those people. It's like, man, how do you level up? Danica said a key one right there. Find better stuff. Pick up better. Set yourself a threshold. Like to where yourself a threshold.
Don't do like this where old school flips. Jimmy says panic. And he's joking, but let me tell you something. I have friends come to me, and then they start, and the part of the panic is this thing called fear. Fear does one thing, and I'm talking about this from a spiritual perspective. It's like it separates your mind, and you get into this moment, it can paralyze you because you're hoarding stuff, and you, like you said, I don't have a barn to put it in. Well, I mean, I get it. Some people have to go at their own pace, but the thing is, have a plan. Don't complain, like Eric's saying, Well,
I mean, like I said, you got to find somebody. I mean, Jimmy's a prime example. The other day, he was on there showing us video games that he bought. Dude, if he told me what he spent right there, a couple grand. Like when I first started reselling, if you told me, hey, I got to drop a couple grand on a video game lot, I would have freaked out. Like, I would have just been like, oh my, I can't do that. I can't pull that trigger. I was freaked out on buying a $350 video game lot. Like, I'm like, looking at, like, make it back, how's it going to work? But now, once I've moved past that a little bit, like to where I'm like, hey, I'm making more than what I was before, but you're
also seasoned in where you can make that wisdom of a choice, and that's beautiful. Like some of it is because you're seasoned and you've been doing this for long enough, but some of it is, this is one thing I like to talk about. We don't always get to talk about this inner confidence, not cockiness. This little sleep man thinking like, oh, look what I did, and I sold this for, like you said, it's a one-off. Where about the next 2-3 weeks when you spent that $1,000 so you can make a return on investment or something, because sometimes you got to sit on it for a while. And boy,
I mean, that's the catch. So like for me, what it boiled down to of how do I level up? I've got to buy more than what I have been in the sense of like where I've done these bulk buys, like those parts I have, those boat and lawnmower. I'm still listing those things, but I can tell you, I guarantee you that investment of $500 is going to pay me 12 grand over the long haul.
So for example, I spoke to somebody who was on your show, Eric, and that is Brian Davis, and he's better known as Mr. Buys a Lot. So Brian Davis, who I was texting and I was like trying to get a hold of him, like, you're gonna be okay, and he's like, yeah, I'm in my car, we'll get up. And finally he got on our show and
that's everything
you're talking about, and I was very grateful that he was there. So, and I'm gonna go over to my co-host here for a second. If he's willing to share his business strategies and his stuff that he does, he's doing that too. In some sense, where like there comes a time where we love to source, but time is money. You go out for 2 hours and you find 3 things at a thrift store, or buy in bulk, like Mr. Buys a Lot, or what Eric was talking about. And like Danica says, I want to find the good stuff. Can you talk a little bit on that, Luis?
Yeah, I mean, besides the reselling, the stuff I do.
What you do?
Oh, what I do?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what I do is besides buying the stuff that I resell, I also do wholesale stuff. I buy pallets. So like I tell Louie, I have a wholesaler that lives literally down the street from my house. So that's a plus just to start off. And second of all, yeah, I've known him for years. I've been doing business with this guy for years. So he always calls me when he gets all the new stuff in and all that. So I have the capital and ability to actually buy pallets from him. So he actually drops them off at my house and I store them in my garage. So by the time he drops them off, maybe an hour later, I'll have my first guy come in and take 2 pallets. So as I'm bringing in the inventory, I'm actually selling it out the same within hours just to get it out.
Wow.
You know, I try not to sit on all the inventory.
You're not sitting on overhead. You're moving it fast.
Yeah, I'm moving it. So I already know what the guys I have that buy from me, what they're looking for. So when I go down there, I know what to buy. So once I come home, I'll call them, hey, I got the pallets. Come on by. So they'll come, and how many pallets you want? I'll take 2. Okay, boom, we load them up.
There's another strategy. That's wonderful. Yeah. So like leveling up and thinking about your business strategy is also like, not only can you get product, how fast can you move it? You know, because time is money, but also money is being locked up, you know? And so I think one of our jobs here is to encourage each other, not brag about it. I don't think most of us really want to brag. But
No.
Learning. We're trying to help each other, you know, and
pop up back by Silver's comment. Read that comment. That's
this one that just came in, right? This one? Okay. So it's got to balance profit and desirability. Bulk items that move fast but don't get a lot of profit are better than the $1,000 profit item that sits. Correct. So it's sitting in overhead. You know, it takes 300 8-track tapes, you know, or was that 8 tracks? Yeah. For $20, a little over $1,000. Yeah. So yeah, it's a good point, you know.
Yeah.
And it's not a criticism. It's just an awareness of like.
Because once you guys pay more, like if you know an item's going to flip right now, for me, I know like there's certain items. If you go in and look at the what's sold, and there's like 25 that have sold, and there is none listed, like I'm going to pay up for that item because I know when I list it, it's going to sell. Like I mean. But if it's an item that may take a little bit longer, or it's a bulk buy that I have a ton of work to do, I'm not going to pay near as much on that. Like I'm gonna pay less. It's just one of the things.
You know, like Danica said a little while ago too. By the way, Salvador says, "Thank you for having this conversation. Thank you, Sal, for being here. And if you guys don't know Sal, subscribe and check out his stuff. He makes some really good tape dispensers. He's a self-making type of business person, and he's a too. So he's talking about, and the reason I say this is because he's talking about multiple sources of income. You know, he's trying to all of us. We all need to like think strategically, but don't let it, you know, in a way that's very mindful that we can have better well-being. Like it's less stress for us. Like if we can find that guy, and it may take you years, you can do it, but it just, you know, because
what he said. Look at my candle, it's burning.
Nice.
Work hard,
stay humble, live happy. Nice.
There you
go. This is what he says, stay humble and kind of. I will say this to you guys. I just want to do a quick check-in real quick, and then maybe we do need to cut it short, but it's like we're 20 minutes over. I'm happy and I'm joyful, and I appreciate you guys both being here. Luis, I know he's got a harder struggle too, because he's got 2 children who are waiting for him, although they may be out of school or getting out.
Yeah, they're out already.
Okay, you're good. If you guys want to cut it short here and you need to jump out, I understand. But this has been a very enriching conversation. I think it's a conversation that we need to have more often, is a collaboration like this with, you know, hopefully with you guys again one day, but hopefully with other resellers that we can listen to, because we all have something to contribute.
Yeah.
We all have a voice.
Your participants in the chat are very interesting. You've got a lot of people that I would like to see on your show.
Yeah. Oh, we had this nice gentleman. He is hard-headed as can be, but I love Derek. And let me tell you what, I don't think I probably would have quit YouTube at one time if I didn't meet him.
Who is it?
This is Derek, Fundamentals of Side Hustling. If you don't know him, you need to subscribe to him right now. Like, stop what you guys do. He's sincere, he's to the point, and he's got his own flavor, you know, like he's sharp. Like even Eric one day made this astute observation. I'm going to give you some credit, Eric, although it's hard for me to swallow this, but Eric, he was on Eric's show. Eric's not even listening to me.
Yeah,
he is.
He's like,
I'm trying to pull his link up, man.
Oh, good. Eric one day had Derek on and mentioned this point where Eric was like coming in stealthily to a I think it was a garage sale. You want to tell that story, Eric? Do you remember about Derek?
I can't find the channel.
Because the way he spells it, he trips me up. Well, I'll send you the link in a little bit. But
okay.
Yeah.
Eric is one of those guys you got to watch. Like he's got strategies that are like really well rounded.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for coming in, you guys. We appreciate you both. Thank you. I know this is kind of a weird show, but this is what our platform is really about. It's just can we learn something new every day? Can we bring in new aims and goals? Can we step up our strategies that we can help improve each other? Because I want to mirror you because you guys taught me so much, and hopefully one day that mirror will come back and shine the same light. You know, we're all here to help each other. So you guys, if you haven't subscribed to our two guests today, please subscribe to them. They're wonderful. They're amazing. And I love to see their journey grow. And I can't wait to see you guys go all the way to like 5,000.
Like this.
High fives. Giving Louis an elbow. All right, you guys. Now, that being said, would you guys like to sum it up? And do you have anything you want to contribute? Or anything that's going on this week or coming up next month? And you got rapid fire, right, Eric?
Yeah, that's coming up Friday. Tomorrow I'll be listing live at 9:30, barring depending on how sales are today. 9:30 is the plan. I think I'll be back in the shed tomorrow listing some more parts.
Okay.
So you can come and hang out from 9:30 to whenever, probably 5 in the afternoon, somewhere like that.
I'm not going to promise you, but you have motivated me. I've been on there one time and reluctantly kind of stood on, but I'll tell you what, that later that week, my sales bumped up so nicely just sitting there with Eric.
I can tell you some trick too, man. Like what I've noticed, man, if you list hard on Friday, you'll have a good weekend.
Yep.
I just tell you, like if you list hard on Friday, that's just a trick too. Tuesday helps me during the week, but Friday I can tell the days that I've had. Like this past Friday, I weren't able to list like I normally would, and sales were a little down. But yeah.
Oh, you guys, real quick, I'm sorry to interrupt. Danica, can you hold on for a sec? And this nice young lady, her name is Lainey. She goes by the moniker "Big Girls Do Not Do Cry." Excuse me.
We need to cry.
That's true. We do.
She and you're gonna fall in love with her. Oh, Danica, sweetie, she's from the United Kingdom, so she's out of Britain. She has these live now. Granted, take this in mind. One day I was on Eric's channel and she had a severe event happen, and we just wanted to reach out and pour our love. You guys send her good energy. She's got some stuff going on in her life, but that being said, she's this Thursday, she's gonna come on my channel. She's doing a charity, and it's for dementia in UK is the nonprofit organization. She's gonna hop on my channel. She's gonna do 12 hours of channel hopping on YouTube.
Wow.
And it's all international. So I volunteered. She's gonna be on Tim over the years, just before me, but she's gonna be like going to Australia, United Kingdom, and you name it.
That's awesome.
This starts. If you guys go on my channel, there's a thing. I'm gonna eventually put one with her picture and my picture on it, but mostly her picture. And it's a fundraiser. You guys, if you can donate, that's fine. But if you can just, if anything, be there on the live for moral support. It's coming this Thursday. You'll see the time. We're working at the quirk. Her and I are gonna talk tonight. But like, she's 6 hours difference, and I can't even confess what a wonderful person Lainey is. She's got one of the biggest hearts I've met. She used to be a reseller, but right now she can't be. And just stuff like this that she's doing for charity, and it's not easy for her. She's got, some challenges going on in her life, like I said, but she's doing this out of the kindness of her heart. This is what I'm talking about. YouTube is such a plethora of treasure troves, and you meet nice people like this, and hopefully she starts incorporating and jumping over. Like there's a lot of people that come over the pond that we know about that are from other, and we're aware, some of them are Australian or UK or whatever, English speaking, some that are not, I met a guy not too long ago who's supposed to be on Derek's channel, and he's an American living in Germany, and he's talking about his struggles as an Amazon seller. So this place is, you know, wild. But guys, subscribe to Big Girls Do Cry, and you'll find out more information. She's got the intense layout. I wrote the time thing on my channel. If you're not sure, reach out to me, and I'll give you the information. I'll send it to you. And yeah, of course, Lainey, we love you. You're wonderful. So I'm sorry to cut you off, Danica. I didn't mean to, and I just thought that was very important. And I thank everybody for being here. And Danica, look at this beautiful smile. What gold nugget can you throw? What gold nugget can you throw in everybody's lap? And the new resellers, what would you tell them about trying to just be more aware? You know, just as a reseller, what, you know, could you encourage?
Yeah, man, it's fun. So have fun. Don't forget to have fun, and make yourself proud. And that's all I got.
Yes,
Nice.
E.T. and Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. Nice.
Wait, that's Eric and Michael.
Bruh.
Thank you, guys. So, do you have anything you want to talk about, Luis? Do you have an auction tomorrow?
Yeah, I'll have an auction tomorrow night at the usual time, 7:30 Pacific Standard Time on my channel, and then on Friday,
subscribe to Luis.
Then on Friday I'll be on with Eric. So you make sure you guys check that out as well, and make sure you guys subscribe to Eric and to Danica as well. They both have great channels and they have great content. So make sure you guys check them out.
Really want to thank you guys for being here. We're grateful. We look forward to future endeavors and collaborations and seeing you guys in the lives. And
yeah, definitely.
I want to say from our heart, thank you for being here. Appreciate you.
It both,
Yeah, thanks for inviting
everybody in the live. We're going to say goodbye. And on that note, I do have something on my banner, and today's motto is peace and productivity. You guys take care. Bye-bye.
So